So, hey guys, it's me again. And well, we'll see. This might be the first or second upload. I have kind of two planned at the moment. So, I'm going to try and have my background similar to what I'm reviewing, but so I was lucky enough to actually get a seat on the new Resident Evil movie, Welcome to Raccoon City. And so I'm going to be reviewing that as I just explained, and it'll probably see something like that in the title of the video, but yeah, here we go. So it's gonna be like full spoilers as well. Like I'm not gonna do like a non-spoiler and spoiler review of it. So just keep that in mind for viewing. um yeah, so overall I thought the movie was great. I mean, the CGI on some of it was a little funny, but really, I mean, all it really comes down to is, do you have a liking for Resident Evil? Do you enjoy it? Do you want to see more of it? And if so, are you someone that really cares? Like, oh well, it's going to be about this, so it has to be the exact same way it was in the games or the books. If you are, you might enjoy it a little less, but really, ultimately, it comes down to, as long as you're a fan of the storyline, of the characters, of the games, I think you'll generally really like the movie. As me personally, I've played almost all the Resident Evil games. I haven't read all the books, but plan to. I'm pretty much a diehard Resident Evil fan. Uh, Not pretty much. I mean, I want to be, but I still have to do a little more because reading books and everything comes in the movie, well, in the franchise. So going back to the movie, um, so it takes place with the games 1 and 2, Resident Evil 1 and 2, and they do it a little differently than how the games do it, of course, because typically Resident Evil 1 takes place before Resident Evil 2, and Resident Evil 2 actually takes place between 2 and 3. Well, 2 and 3, like they kind of mix match timelines, so they're happening at the same time. Meanwhile, now Resident Evil 1 and 2 are happening at the same time, and many of the characters do meet, unlike how they would in the games. So, for instance, I'm just gonna fix that real quick. Sorry. Yeah, so Leon wouldn't typically meet Chris until later on in the games. Uh, Same goes for Claire and Jill. They wouldn't typically have a conversation. I don't even know if they do ever really in the games. At least not to my memory. But yeah, so there's minor things like that have changed. Uh, if you're a fan of the Resident Evil 2 remake, you'll notice that Marvin Branagh, the officer that dies in the beginning, uh, when you're playing as Leon, he kind of helps you out. And if you remember from Resident Evil 3 remake, uh, he gets bitten in the beginning, and then Resident Evil 2 remake, he says, if you see one of them, don't hesitate to shoot. So again, going back to the movie, sorry. There's a lot of bloodshed. Um, there's a lot of, bullet holes through people or zombies. It's a little interesting seeing Umbrella. I mean, because you don't see it happen over time, because the movie is, I believe, an hour and 47 minutes. So you kind of see a little bit of the aftermath of what Umbrella has already started to do with the city, really, because it's been kind of a ghost town for a while, and you learn that Umbrella has kind of been poisoning the people, and not so subtly, I guess. Well, I mean, kind of subtle for them, but not for the people of Raccoon City. As you notice that uh, people's hair have been coming out, and then, I mean, they're slowly getting zombified, but overall, again, CGI wasn't terrible, but I mean, if you're looking for bad CGI, I guess you can kind of just be that guy, because again, it's a movie with creatures that you're not going to see in real life, so it's going to be kind of hard to make that look so realistic. As William Birkin does kind of make his appearance as the G um, version of himself with the G virus. and you see his arm mutate, and then he slowly becomes like this big monster. I think it's G stage 4, because they don't get to the final stage of the G hearse on William, where he's kind of just a giant blob, but he does get legs and arms, and he's kind of brutal. But um, again, being such a short movie, they kill him off in the end. But I mean, of course, it's cool. One thing that I didn't get as much is, I mean, yes, it's a rated R, but so Leon's, I guess, favorite word is the F word. And I mean, I'm not going to say it for obvious reasons, trying to get around YouTube. But Leon says it quite often. But one thing I do like about Leon is, of course, his character, but the fact that they also kept him original to his real story as well. Waking up late, being having after having a hard night, because I mean, they don't mention that he just broke up with his girlfriend, but in the story he does. And he was drinking heavily the night before, which you see beer scattered around his apartment or his motel room. And then he goes in the next morning, learning kind of what's happening as it's going on around him. And then we kind of see a little bit of the orphanage as well in the beginning, and somewhat even towards the end, which in the orphanage there is like a liquor or two. But God, they look awesome. Yeah, we see Claire seeing, I can't remember her name, but it was like a little disfigured girl, but she ends up coming back later in the movie to help Claire kill the liquor, which was again pretty cool to see. But the RPD, the precinct, that looked really good, honestly. With the design, I think overall, what the movie did great with was the product, not the product, the set and background design of pretty much everywhere where they were at, because they kind of nailed it on the on the head with details that you can kind of find lying around, including in the beginning whenever the Stars team is at the diner with Leon, which they do meet in the beginning. Jill steals Wesker's sandwich and calls it a Jill sandwich now, which again is a reference to Resident Evil 1. But we do see some of the Stars team dying. We do see Spencer's mansion, as well as, again, the RPD and the orphanage. Unlike the remakes of the games, I can't remember too vividly the endings of the original games of 2 and 3. But Raccoon City in the movie doesn't blow up by a nuke, but it does get kind of crushed. I don't know if Umbrella had like this facility underground that's kind of held it up, but they did end up just destroying the entire city, really. But I think getting around the city as well, you kind of see from like an aerial view of what the city looked like, being close to the beach, and just how small the city really was compared to what some might think it is. But there's no Mr. X in the movie, so if you really enjoyed Resident Evil 2 remake and wanted to see some of Mr. X or the Tyrant, you do not see him in this movie, so just be aware. But I mean, again, I'm just a huge Resident Evil nerd, so I love everything Resident Evil I can find. And again, if you're not, it has to be this way, then I think you'll really enjoy the movie. And again, I'm glad I was able to get these early seats that I did. So this review should be coming out the day of the actual release. And if you do watch this, whether it be later on in the future years, if anybody watches this, just thank you. And I hope you come back again. And maybe we see Raccoon City in the future. Bye.